Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome aboard. It is Dr. Kevin Jarena. That means 7 o'clock Monday night. We are live and a minute or two behind schedule, but we do the best we can. So welcome aboard. Hope you're managing to get through today and you are focusing on building your own ship. That's an analogy, ladies and gentlemen, for taking care of your business, creating your personal best life in today's environment, today's stormy waters of our reality. It seems like time, it seems like events, it seems like all sorts of things are up in the air. So I'm going to say hello. Hopefully you can hear me coming in loud and clear. And if you've been here before, I want to say thank you for being here. Give a thumbs up. That way we can help spread the word, connect the dots. And go visit drkeving.com. And I have a number of opportunities for you. I created a number of things because I wanted them. I have a remote quantum healing group on Wednesdays. I have a wellness coach in your pocket program that I've been connected to with some other doctor connections that I have. On the holistic health space. Understanding the secret language of your human body. And that's what we're going to be talking about tonight more in depth. However, I would love if you got value about things I do, things I offer, go to the shop section right here at the top. Click on the shop. And get access to a few different things here. We're talking about energy, frequency, vibration. We talk about the nature of the mind. Get the book Decode Your Pain. In fact, you can go to Dr. Kevin Transformations. I'm going to type that up real quick so you can see it. And you can get the free version of the ebook right here. And it tells a little bit about my story, how I overcame certain thinking patterns and connect the dots. And you can get that as a gift for you. It's in the description, drkevintransformations.com. And you can get fed for a lifetime, as I like to say. Because literally all is mind, and what you do, what you create in the thinking, in the beliefs, in the concepts of our reality, well, it becomes how we see the world. And this is one of the slides I love to share that I put together. Our concepts and our precepts basically formulate everything we see, everything we expect, everything we perceive, and that has a profound effect on our individual reality. And that's what I go about sharing each and every Monday night. Now, let's get down to business. Welcome. We're teaching from the book Decode Your Pain right there, and tonight we're tuning into page 11. And this is really what I've titled the 5 steps of healing. And this is true for every situation. Regardless if it's physical, if it's mental, emotional, if it's nutritional, if it's chemical, whatever it may be, when the step that always comes first is crisis control, really there's a wake-up call. There's a wake-up moment in which we are suddenly aware of a problem. That's step 1, crisis control. We are alerted. And how is that typically noted? Well, some type of pain. Raise your hand if you've had pain, and then that's when you decide to take action. I know it's a common denominator in my world. I'm gonna take a sip of coffee. Hopefully doing good. Let me know where you're coming in from out there in the world. Now I'm pull it up. I want to give a shout out to the 4 Foundations group. This is where on Facebook, I'll pull it up, everybody can see. This is where I teach daily strategies, mind, body, spirit, and soul, about how to nourish yourself to bring about a desired result. Point is, we may not recognize what is nourishing for ourselves. What can we do to nourish ourselves? And there's some simple, very, very basic, simple things. And I'm pulling up the groups right now. And boy, I want to drop that link for you. That way you can go there, get access. I think it's a 12-part video series. I've gamified it for a 21-day transformation. And we're already gearing up for that. And if you actually want to participate with that, I'll drop the link here in a second. Go get a dedicated notebook. And title it your Blueprint Journal. And I'm going to try to pull this up. I don't know why full screen is different. Yes, it is different. And title it your Blueprint Journal. And then get access to this group. I'm going to drop the link right here. I got it. Put it right in the chat here. Here is the 4 Foundations access. Right there. And with that, you'll get access to this group. I'll pull it up here. And I go live, 3 times a week. I post quotes, I post questions, and I share the strategies and insights from the studies I do each and every day about what's going on in nature of the emotional weather report, what's going on in the energetic weather report, because we as human beings are receptive and responsive to these forces. Now I'm in the midst of preparing. Let's do this. I'm going to show you this real quick. I'm in the midst of preparing a presented video, so it looks nicer, it comes out nicer. Here's the 4 Foundations group, and pardon me, I have all the business end up top there. But I go live. We put this show's streaming right now. There it is, right there. That's pretty fun. And I put comments. I go live each couple times a week. There's quotes, inspirational quotes. I stream the live quantum group in there. Again, I pretty much go into depth every day for myself about understanding what is needed to operate in today's energy. Not like, I'm not talking about the news. I'm talking about the grander scale of how the human body responds to things. Just like nature, we are part of nature. Think about, we'll talk about a concept here. Think about nature and our environment causes the physical human body to change and adapt. So what we do each and every day has an impact on us. But just like the hot Christmas present of the year, or just like birds in nature, or I like deer because I grew up in an area with lots of deer. Soon as one sound was heard, all the deer sprung to action to run away, essentially to maintain safety. So the human body, the human species itself, has a number of these features where we catch on to something, and we're at high alert. And I have a paper I'm saved here that I'm going to be diving into with a better video. But let me show you a few different. Let me show you a little highlight here. I wanted to demonstrate that right here. All right, here it is, right here. There's a research that Earth's geomagnetic, Earth's geomagnetic field plays a major role in human and other plants, organisms, and that's supposed to say embryonic development. That's right. Geomagnetic forces. This doctor right here, Dr. Harold, can you see that? Yes. Dr. Harold S. Burr, professor of anatomy at Yale's Medical School. Now, I'm going to be doing follow-up to see if this is actually true. Is there a Dr. Harold Burr at Yale? Did he work on magnetic fields? However, what this article that I found talks about parts of the human brain at birth are determined by the position of these electromagnetic fields around the cosmos and around the planet Earth. This Dr. Burr, emeritus professor of anatomy at Yale's Medical School, states that the complex magnetic field not only establishes the pattern of the human brain at birth, but continues to regulate and control it through life. That's a profound statement if this is accurate. Again, I'm going to dive into that. And if anyone has information or research around this or knows this research, please share it with me. That would be a great win. The point being that our environment can affect the human body. And we are in a time, I'm going to pull it right there. We are in a time of change. That's it right there. And I like to show these images, and I'm going to show an article here from space.com. Essentially, and I'll bring in the a little closer view here. For stargazers, the Big Dipper is a celestial compass, clock, calendar, and ruler. Here's how to use it. This article dives into that a little bit more. However, we are... it's a timekeeper, and it's also energy. How do I say it? It heralds the call. The announcement of what we are living in can be determined by the position of these planets, apparently. I ask you to consider. So with that being said, when we look at how we can measure the human condition, the human thought pattern has a specific tone, a specific vibration to it. Each word has different tones. I've shown videos in numerous times over the last few weeks, different tones and patterns that erupt in physical matter. These are called Caldini plates, I believe is the name. And let me see what I have here. Okay, yes. There's a technology I've recently had access to that it reads your vocal cords, and based on that, it's interpreting a number of situations about what somebody's going through. So in this case, this person's information I've pulled up, zone 9, the tones associated with dark blue, also known as G sharp, which are associated with these organs. You can see highlighted, described here in blue. And the frequencies that have showed up with that are balanced by these frequencies in the octave D. So think about for a few moments. You have close people in your life, family member, a loved one, a child, someone that you have intimate connection with. You're close, and you can tell by the tone of their voice, by their body language, by the words between the lines, so to speak, the unspoken things. You can tell what's going on, if they need help, if they need a connection. Whatever it is, oftentimes it's not words. I mean, how many times have you heard that body language, verbal communication is like 90 or 95%, nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is something like 90 and 95% of our communication. Let's just type it in. Let's take a look. Let's type it in. How much percentage is nonverbal? Notice I'm using Bing. I have to highlight that real quick. Now this right here, it says by this Ray Burt's whistle, 67% is nonverbal communication. All right, so some people here, there's a myth that something is 93% nonverbal. Okay, well look, it may not be 93. Let's see down here. What does it say? Some people go as low as 55%. And this degree.utbp.education, this is a few years ago, a range of 60 to 90% nonverbal communication. We can all be in agreement that is a majority of the percentage of communication is nonverbal. Body language, there's pheromones, there's the electromagnetic communication pathways. These are what's called subtle energy body fields. There's the sixth sense of things. Mother's intuition. Oh, the stories abound. Well, these type of phenomena was being studied. So there's other things that the materialists are missing out on in a conversation of conversation. How about that? So how does this play out for you in your healing, the 5 phases of healing? All right, let's take a look into that. Let's dive back into that. Here we are. First, number 1, crisis control. All right, this step is triage. About relieving pain, taking immediate action to stop the bleeding, so to speak. Making abrupt change that is needed. All right. So oftentimes this means physical pain. This means trauma. This means emotional catastrophe. This means some type of symptom that somebody wakes up with. And there are strategies with nutrients. There's strategies with the mind and techniques to shift the thinking patterns and even the physical pain pattern. And there's connections immediately associated with muscle, bone, ligament, and tendon. Now, many people stop at that. They go to some emergency care, whether it's at a holistic practitioner or natural practitioner. It's kind of the same thing. Not really, but sort of. And then there's the medical system, whatever variety of physician that you would like. Oftentimes, though, it's a stop the bleeding, and that's where it ends. However, that's the low-hanging fruit, and the real healing has yet to even happen. And I invite you to continue to dive in on your internal process, because there are these laws of reality, these laws of nature that are playing out, that resulted in that injury, that resulted in that physical pain, that emotional pain, whatever the variety of injury or issue is. That is the culmination factor. That's the harvest itself. And things and events and circumstances had led to that. And that injury and that pain is literally the alarm bells. That is the final wake-up call. And if you continue, and I'm scratching right there, I'm like, well, my mind as the clinician here, I'm going, wait a minute, what's that mean again? That's a bladder area. Could be a stomach area. I'm going to Chinese medicine here because there's energy lines that go along different areas of the physical body. I think I have a demonstration image for you. Pull that. Yeah, here we are. Let's see, I'll pull up this one right there. So if I zoom in on, let's see if I can get a good image of a different. I don't have a good facial map in here though. So however, with that being said, if suddenly you're thinking of something, suddenly there's a, suddenly there's a significant itch somewhere. Zoom in on that for you. And see, think of this, see this red line from the inside of the arm down the pinky line. If suddenly there's a crazy itch, suddenly there's a symptom that shows up there, I invite you to ask yourself the question, what was I just thinking? When you ask that question, the moment that itch comes on, oftentimes you'll recognize that you were having an awareness about something. Now, if you had the book in front of you, this one's called, it'll come to me, it's the generic version of Applied Kinesiology, Touch for Health. The book is called Touch for Health, and it has all the wonderful questions and analogies. And if you go to, in fact, if you go to the book, Decode Your Pain, and in fact, the free gift, the introduction to Decode Your Pain, you go in the back of the book, you will get part of the map where the different body parts are connected. And in this case, we're talking about the heart. And let's see if I can find the heart line here. I wonder if it's in here. I hope it is. There it is. I saw it right there. So when one begins to connect the dots between the emotions, the thought process, the thinking patterns that one was experiencing at the moment that symptoms showed up, you will see that there's oftentimes a significant connection. And here with heart, we have forgiveness, we have compassion, we have insecurity, we have self-worth. All this is wired in to the thinking habits around that energy meridian, that when there's some type of interference with your subconscious versus your conscious, it shows up in the sensation. And so looking at the possible symbolism, needing connection, circulation with your soul, pride in your legacy. There's a number of other questions that could be asked that are found here in the book. Let's see if I can, if there's a question that we can take a look at real quick. Yeah, here we are. Hopefully everybody can see that at home. I'll pull that into the image a little more. There we are. What are you hiding or keeping private? So if someone, I'm asking these questions to patients in the clinic. If they have symptom along that line, or if during the testing the heart shows up, well, this book comes out oftentimes if there's a positive sign to a mental component being present. And so when I ask the question and I do the test, the patient's body has a reflex response, and then we can determine that's an accurate question the person is currently struggling with, and then the healing can begin at that point in deeper ways. Let's zoom that, make it a little bigger. So what are you hiding or keeping private? Is there something that you need to reveal? What do you feel in your heart as opposed to your head? How are you receiving and sending messages about your life to yourself and others? These are just some of the questions that go along with the heart meridian, that when we're struggling with something like that in our life, whether it's a relationship, personal, friend, romantic, family, business, if it's something that matters to your heart, well, then these topics become present. And if this is unresolved, or there's some guilt or shame around something, or if there's a strong desire to have an outcome and it doesn't happen, or it does happen, whatever way we're talking about, that energy can show up and get stuck in that meridian, so to speak, and can cause a symptom. And if it's strong enough, if it's been happening enough and that you've ignored it, or that you were just ignorant of it and it's blindsided you, a symptom will show up. A heart attack could happen, or something that feels like a heart attack could happen, or literally the body will mirror and demonstrate this symptom out in life, even to the point of death. This is we talked about that last few weeks ago with somebody who, and this has happened more than once, if I recall correctly, where people who have been stuck in freezer trucks that were actually off, but they ended up freezing to death, but the temperatures never got cold enough. Something in the mind just believed it so the person made it so, and it played itself out. But in fact, check me on that. I would love it. And so let's continue to the point here. I want to share this search I did. Absent of pain in subjects with advanced radiographic findings. Okay, so here's the article. To investigate the frequency of pain among subjects with advanced radiographic knee osteoarthritis. Okay, defined by this guy's scoring system, and not to be concerned with that, to be honest, right now. Point is, I wanted to bring this up because I've been talking about the brain, the mind itself determines when pain comes on and comes off. And I wanted to show the kind of the opposite point of view, at least how I see it, the opposite point of view. Typically people think if I have pain in an area, that's where the problem is located. And I wanted to pull this, I found it up real quick, and it was released in the name of this journal. Make sure I get it right. And it's a BMC musculoskeletal disorder, and I want to misquote about what I believe this journal's name is. Great to do beforehand. But the point is that the presence of physical injury of tissue that can be found on MRI, that can be found on X-ray, doesn't necessarily mean that it is why pain is present in the physical part of the body. Now, I'm looking at the same time I'm talking to you. I'm looking at this, who we are, and I believe this is a research conglomerate. I wanted to say British Medical Journal, but it's not. I think people would put their names out there right away. Oh my goodness, this is what I get for researching on the fly. Well, Biomed Central, BMC Journal. Boy, let's get out of here. Go back to the actual article. I'll show you what I found. There we are. So this was in 2020. BMC musculoskeletal disorders. Here's the authors, the abstract, and what this they talk about their methods. The results were, though, in these different groups of one group had 504 people, one group had a little more than 10,000 people, one had just under 5,000. Pain was absent. A grade 4, the highest grade, was identified in these percentage of people: 9.3, 7.6, 11.5. And in these subjects, while pain was absent in the first group, 23%. The other group, 31%, and in the third group, just about 6%. Meaning that not just the presence of physical damage to the tissue didn't result in physical pain. So that means there's other causes to why pain is present or not present. That's exactly what this goes to report in the. A considerable number of subjects with this grade 4 OA, the osteoarthritis, did not report pain. This means that from causes other than structural damage of the joint. So whatever else their other spin on that was or is, we know that there's an emotional component. We know that there's a biochemical and a synthetic chemical, environmental component as well. And I had just pulled up, I wanted to share a great website that I love talking about and sharing. Let's see here. It's called the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org. And I have been really diving into the nature of toxins. And so this goes to getting the wake-up call. This is where we're at. We've been talking about the last few minutes, getting the wake-up call. And this has to do with what mental components are related, what physical components are related, what nutritional components and what environmental components are related to the causes of ill health, the ills of human experience. How do we stop feeding the fire? Step number 3. How do we build momentum towards the life you want? And how do we sharpen the saw? And what I'm here to offer everybody is the second step and the third step are the hardest yards, yet the most beneficial yards one can put the efforts in. There's a number of things that I would love to share on each of those 4 components. I dive in the introduction of Decode Your Pain, and in the book Decode Your Pain, and in the open access Mindset Matters series, is the nature of the mental connection to pain. And this is the root. This is what I found over the years working with people. It is the root, regardless of the causative tissue in the body causing the pain, is there's a root of mind associated with it, if not directly connected to it. One more time, yet again, if not directly the cause of it. Many times, challenging components are related to that exact factor. And then there's the physical component where the body can't or does not have the leverage to self-correct the physical body area, so it just gets stuck there. So whether one does the emotional work or not, there may be a physical connection, or there may be a physical connection holding back the mental emotional connection. Well, I hope you enjoyed tonight. I didn't get a chance to pop on the chat too much. I want to say thank you everyone for tuning in. Please visit the website, drkeving.com. Go to the shop section. Go to the shop section. Check out the sponsor. Protect your eyes. Raw Optics. Get clean water. Big Berkey Pro Pure. Get your mind right. Daily Light Messages. Decode Your Pain. And use the advancement of technology to balance the frequencies of different body parts. That's the AO scan. And by all means, if you got value, you have a specific question, if you want personal one-on-one care, go to drkeving.com, connect with me, get on the email list, send an email to contact@drkeving.com, and I'll see you. Well, if you're joining us for Winning Every Situation, that starts in about 27 minutes. We'll be flipping over to that in just a moment. Otherwise, I'll see you Wednesday at noon for Synergy Solutions. Blessings and best regards, everybody. Have a great evening, and keep doing the work. Keep building your life, because it's worth it. As I help you rise, we all rise together, and that is the purpose of what I am here to do, to help you be your best version. Blessings and best regards, Dr. Kevin.
Hello and welcome, I'm Dr. Kevin Jr. This is the first introductory video in becoming your own healer.